Good afternoon. Today is September 30th, 2023. We are in Waldo, Florida, in the Waldo City Square in the Waldo Historical Society. So, my name is Donovan Carter with the Santa Parks Oral History Program, and I'm joined by
Ronan, Hart.
And today, we have the incredible honor and pleasure of interviewing
Linda Hall Vlacos.
And Jason Floyd.
Thank you. Can you guys spell your names for us for the record, please?
The whole names?
Sure.
Linda, Linda, Hall, Hall, Vlacos, V like in Victor, Lacos.
And then Jason, Jason, Floyd, Floyd.
Wow. Well, thank you both for joining us today. We're very excited to be here. Can you tell us, are you both from Waldo? Were you both born and raised in Waldo?
Yes.
Yep.
And what was that like to grow up in Waldo? When and where were you? When were you
Go
guys?
first.
So there's no like hospital or anything here, obviously. So most of us are born in Gainesville. I was born at Alachua General Hospital in Gainesville, which is no longer there. It's now, it was purchased by Shands and then tore down. And then I did live here starting since I was in Head Start, I think. And then I went to Waldo Community School up until the third grade. So it was Head Start, kindergarten, first, second, and third. And then I did move away for a few years and then moved back and actually attended the middle and high school, which is in Hawthorne. So it's about a 15 or 20 minute bus ride there. And then, yeah, I've been here ever since then, like I would say 2011. So, yeah.
Okay, I went to school here. I was born at Alachua General also. And when I was here at this school, it was grades 1 through 8. And then I went to I went to Pugh, which is downtown, for a year, and then GHS through 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I graduated from GHS.
Wow.
In 1966.
So what was this area like then in the 1960s?
It was wonderful. We could go anywhere. We could ride our bikes. We could walk. You know, we had a drugstore after school. We would go to the drugstore and get a cherry Coke. You know, visit your friends. And our parents weren't worried about us. We just had to be home by dark. Mm-hmm. So it's nice.
Yeah. What did your parents do?
My mother kept kids, and my daddy at first was a Tom's peanut driver. He sold candy and chips and bubble gum, and he traveled and delivered. And then he was a security guard in Hague, and then he worked at Takachali, and then he retired.
What is Takachali?
It's in Gainesville. It's a place for, I don't know if they're homeless, but
It's for the like mentally disabled.
yeah.
I see.
It used to be called, what was it called before? I don't remember.
Sure.
So the 1960s, I guess, into the 70s here, during segregation and then integration, that was in a lot of places like a turbulent time or a time when a lot was happening. Do you have memories from then of what that was like here?
That happened when I was in high school, and I know there was just a couple of kids who went there, and I didn't really know anything. So,
I mean, what we've learned from the historical society about that stuff, there wasn't much of a pushback from that, right?
I don't think so.
I think it went pretty seamlessly here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about the Historical Society now? I mean, this room that we're in, how long has this organization existed?
Well, Penny Dodd, Lucy Cook, and there was Millie Kernan, Vera Malden, and Mary Ann Rich. And Lucy and Penny are the ones who really started it. I think Ann Inc. had started one before that, so they really at one time had two. And then it became the Waldo Historical Society. And they did the caboose. They collected a lot of stuff, and it was in different places. And I joined it about 11, 12 years ago. And we got the caboose finished. And Penny had a second house we called the Wood House. And that's where we worked, and she had a lot of stuff stored. And then before COVID, we got a room here in the Noe wing. And so we collected everything from everywhere that they had stored in different places and got it all put together. And so we were there for like 4 years. And then we got a new charter school, so we had to move. And luckily, the city gave us 2 rooms here. And so hopefully we will stay.
And do you have, perhaps what have been some of your favorite things that you've seen come through here, through the society?
I think mostly is the canal, the little boat.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone through a lot of the like office stuff, and I think that's probably my favorite, is going through like the computer and seeing all the different pictures and all the random crazy documents that we've scanned over the years. And I know recently I worked on a binder that had, like, I would say maybe 100 checks from the Bank of Waldo. So there were some there dated like 1923, 1927. And I was like, because I'm super nosy at everything, looking at what they're like written for. And I think there was some like $50 to Florida Power and Light. And I'm like, that's really cool. That's kind of expensive for back then, but it's really cool looking at and seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of stuff that Penny and them had collected. And it's neat to see your relatives' names in some of these things.
Jason, how did you get involved in the Historical Society?
Yeah, so I was actually the store manager here at Dollar General in Waldo, probably for like 4 years. So I knew Penny Dodd. She would come in the store all the time. And then I actually had read on Facebook how she had passed away, and that they needed help with the paper, or else it was just not going to happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to Linda, and I've been doing the Waldo Phoenix for about 2 years now?
Mm-hmm.
About 2 years. So I started doing that at first, and then I did start helping Linda at the museum over when we were in the Noe wing. We had several people helping us at one time. I think there was like 4 or 5 of us, and then it's just been me and Linda for the past probably year.
Yeah, a year.
Yeah.
What is the Waldo Phoenix?
Yeah, so it's the Waldo newspaper. There's been several newspapers over the past 20 years. There was the Waldo Crossing.
The Waldo Express.
The Waldo Express. So the Phoenix is basically just the newest one that Penny Dodd started. I believe it was 2011 that she started that one. So right now it's up to volume 14. So it's just a monthly newspaper. Mm-hmm. We just kind of publish any of the news that happens around town. I usually get reports from the city of Waldo, the Waldo Branch Library. Recently we've been getting stuff from the Masonic Lodge, and then just anyone who wants to submit any kind of article about really anything.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that people in Waldo are pretty engaged in stuff like the newspaper or the Historical Society?
Not as much as we would like.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to get people interested because, it is volunteer work. So I've been helping Linda. It does take a lot of time. So I'm here like every Saturday. I work, I go to school. So I enjoy it. So that's why I contribute a lot of my time to it. But not everyone can do that. So since I started as well, I've been trying to kind of modernize a little bit. So adding in websites and social media pages. I recently made a little mini documentary about the school, and posted that to YouTube and TikTok. And I just really, I know the power of social media, and I think if we want to get the word out there, especially to the younger generation, that's kind of how we had to do it. So
That's very cool. Did you have experience in like digital production or anything?
not too much. I have certifications in like Adobe, Illustrator, Photoshop, and that kind of stuff. I did all of that in high school. And I did start getting an IT degree. So I kind of had that experience. I changed that to I work with autistic children now. But I do have like that IT experience, so that really helped with trying to modernize it.
You talked about kind of harnessing the power of social media and newer technologies to spread information. And what do you want, what do you want people, especially younger people, to know about Waldo and to know?
Yeah. So I really want them to know, there's a lot of stuff circulated now. Recently, there's been a few TikToks where like this man has come through Waldo and will only find the bad things downtown. It's empty. There's this and that on the street, and I kind of want them to know, like, hey, let's speak up for our city and try to let them know like it does have a rich history, and kind of keep that alive, and then also getting their help to help it in the future. So that's one of the biggest struggles that the city has found right now, is getting people engaged to make things happen. I know, like, for instance, we have a yearly fair festival, and it's impossible to get volunteers to help with that. So, some people will complain about not having much here, but then it's like hard to get people to do it. However, I think that most of that is lack of communication, which is where I've like gone through like social media trying to find people. So kids are on their phones all the time now, so you're not gonna get to them by sending a letter. So
who's this hater who's making TikToks dissing Waldo? That's you just mentioned that. What's going on with that?
He's like a can't remember the TikTok handle, but he does go around Florida to like these different historical towns, and like he'll give like these very like movie-esque like narratives of these cities. So like he will like walk through downtown, and he's like, a long and forgotten Waldo, it's so empty, there's no one ever here. And I'm like, okay, you came on a Wednesday night, what did you expect? So I try to comment on there, and I'm like, you can come back and I'll show you some stuff, because a lot when people drive through, they just kind of see the downtown area. They don't see the stuff to the side, to hear the school and the community center. Like, a lot of stuff does happen here, and you're not going to know that if you're not engaged with the community, which is, again, where social media comes from. The Waldo New Vision Coalition, they actually recently got on social media, so I know that's been helping them a lot. They've had a lot of successes down at the community center. So
yeah, that's awesome. So we just came from the homecoming celebration that the New Vision Coalition put on, and it's clearly like this is a very vibrant place at this plan. Lots of people are engaged in the community, and big things are happening. So I guess between all of those events and the people here and this place, what, for both of you, do you think makes Waldo special, or what do you like about it here?
I think the biggest thing is community. Obviously, there are people in every town, every city who doesn't get along with everyone. However, I think Waldo is a bit different. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone, for the most part, gets along. There's no like crime here. There's no huge arguments, whatever. I think that places like the community center, the library, people really go there to, get together with their community. And even when I worked at Dollar General as a manager for those years, I really learned to know everyone. So, I can go to a store in Stark now, and I see people that I knew from the store, and they're like, hey, how are you? And like everyone knows everyone. So
That's nice.
Yeah.
The same as Jason, it's the people.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I guess some recent history, I've asked a few people about this, but 2020, during like the COVID-19 pandemic early on, I feel like a lot of people talk about the experience of that in big cities and stuff. I've been curious what like the small town experience of COVID-19 was like.
Yeah. So I don't think that it affected us as bad as the bigger cities. I know they struggled with a lot of the illness because, everybody's in close proximity. I did actually, I was working at Dollar General during the pandemic, and that was a little rough because people didn't have the resources they need, which is harder in a rural area because some people here don't have access to travel to somewhere else to get things. I know it kind of broke my heart a few times when people would come in for like rubbing alcohol for their insulin injections, and we didn't have it. So it was just that kind of thing that we struggled with. I think other than that, we still, the city still tried to do what they could to keep everyone together. They still had the fall festival that they do. They did all of our community events. They just had everybody mask up, or I think they did a drive-through Christmas celebration that year. So, yeah.
Yeah, they had a few things planned, but they all fell through because of COVID.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. But I would say it didn't affect us as bad as the bigger cities. So.
And so what's it been like to kind of grow up in Waldo for both of you? How would you say would you say that how much would you say that Waldo's changed since, your upbringing and your childhood to now?
well, it's changed a lot since I was here because we had businesses and we didn't have the overpass. And so downtown was thriving. And after the overpass came through, that sort of killed Waldo. But like I said before, when I was growing up, we could just go all over Waldo and visit friends and ride bicycles and play, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I think that it's a good comparison between myself and Linda because, we're both from Waldo, but many years apart. So, as she said, she was able to just walk around and go wherever. Not saying that I was inherently in danger by doing that, but, we do live kind of in a society now where kids can't really just go out and do whatever because it is dangerous. So that's not really a Waldo specific thing, just our society in general. So I guess that did make it harder for a Waldo social life. I know Linda has told me before about how they had a recreation center here and they would go and do dances and stuff like that. So there really wasn't anything like that for me. But I mean, I did still get to meet people through school. Literally my best friend, I met her through Waldo. So it's different, but it's still, the outcome is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed seeing over there in the advertiser talking about a skating rink. I was like, oh, wow, that would be very cool. Waldo.
No, we didn't have a skating rink here.
No. Oh.
No. We had the basketball court downtown, and the guys would play basketball, and the girls would go down and watch.
Oh, man.
Could you say more about the overpass? When was that built and how did that change the community?
Oh, gosh. I guess it was in the 60s. I have to go read the book again. But like I said, we had stores downtown, and then when they did the overpass, things just sort of died. And businesses left, and there used to be antique businesses here after the overpass, but they dwindled also.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think that, it keeps a lot of traffic from traveling through downtown Waldo because, when you're traveling from further south, like Tampa and all that, now you're going through Highway 301 straight into Jacksonville by 301. So you're completely missing, US 24, which is downtown Waldo. So, we've had businesses there even during my time, a coffee shop, several, thrift stores and stuff like that. And they don't make it because there's not enough visibility from the, traffic of 301 from there. So.
So I guess maybe related to that, what role is the train that comes through here played? Was it? I mean, we saw a few trains go by today, but
Yeah.
they didn't stop here, obviously.
Yeah, that ended. I'm not sure when it ended, but it used to be really busy here. And then they left Waldo and went to, what was it, Donovan, down south. The round table is still here in Waldo, and it's in good shape, and it's in our book. We did write a book, me and Penny and Mr. Kevin McCarthy. And so that's in the book, and I learned a lot doing that book. I don't forgot the question.
Well, first, so of course I know what a round table is.
Yeah.
But for everyone else who doesn't know what a round table is, could you explain
Let's see if
that?
I can explain it. It's when the trains went through it and turned around. Is that
Right.
am I
So
saying that right?
basically because a lot of tracks, especially in that time, were like one way. A round table would be where the locomotive would come on, they would turn it around and then basically turn it the other way. So it is still here. I've literally gone there recently to like do metal detecting. It's like you can find all kinds of like the railroad stakes and stuff like that. But I would like to get down there more and see what else I could.
Yeah, it's in good shape. And of course, I didn't know anything about it because I'm a girl. But I know the boys say they used to go down there and they'd camp overnight in it. So,
That does sound cool.
Yeah, it doesn't have like any of the mechanisms or anything like that. It's just the concrete, but the concrete's in good condition. So
Great.
I guess about your question for the railroad, I don't think there would be a Waldo as we know it without the railroad, because that's the whole reason why it was here to begin with. So, that's
yeah, and then the safety patrols used to come to Waldo to catch the train. But that eventually ended too, and they now do buses.
Very interesting. Do you have any more questions, Donovan? Do either of you have just any concluding thoughts about Waldo, about the Historical Society, or anything else?
We would just like everybody to come see us.
Yeah.
And we need volunteers.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Support local historical societies. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much for talking to us. It's been really wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you.